Good evening and welcome to the January 5th, 2015, Happy New Year everyone, meeting of the Park and Rec Commission. I'm going to request an agenda item change. Under Public Forum 1, I'd like to move up item 6, old business, E, the GPA kiosk update, and this way Shirley doesn't have to suffer through endless hours of Park and Rec chat. So,
That's ridiculous.
floor is yours.
Thank you. May I bring the chair up?
Sure.
And I have Howard Brown with me, a GPA board member. He's going to talk about what we hope to do in the future with the computer and the kiosk. Maybe I should just bring everybody up to speed a little bit about why we're doing this interactive kiosk. It's one of our main efforts to develop a heritage tourism program in Guilford that will also help to promote economic growth. And the kiosk and its interactive computer is the core of this effort, as well as the walking tours, which have been going on for a couple of years, and Park and Rec through Rick and Terry Holland's efforts have really helped with the walking tour part, the bus tours especially. So this was a culmination of a 2-year planning process that we conducted under the guidance of a National Trust for Historic Preservation staff person, and that the GPA paid for out of a special fund developed by Boynton Schmidt in memory of his wife, Marge Schmidt. You may remember her when she was first elected in the 70s. Okay, so right now we have developed what we call Telling Guilford Stories, and we have information that we elicited from the public in many ways through forums and visiting the school and talking to kids as to what Guilford means to them. And we published a booklet called Telling Guilford Story, and that will be part of the interactive kiosk. You wanted to know the status of the kiosk itself. We have received $60,000 in funding from the State Bonding Commission through the efforts of Pat Withets, our former state rep, and that will take care of the construction of the kiosk. 5 bids have been sent out to East Guilford Construction, Celebration Construction, Munger Construction, Construction Services, and Handler contractors. And those bids will be due back next week. And then the GPA and the town will review the bids as well as the state, because the money comes for the construction for the state. The kiosk itself will be built off-site and then put in place when Public Works has a chance to prep the area. And that's the town's contribution, is prepping the area. Otherwise, the rest of it has been raised through funds from the Connecticut Humanities, the Schmidt Fund, and in-kind services from Media Boom. I don't know if everybody knows Media Boom. It's right over here in the old Griswold house next door. They're downstairs. They're developing the programming for the kiosk. So they're donating $17,000 in kind, and we received $15,000 from the Connecticut Humanities, and we have approximately $17,000 to $20,000 in cash from the Schmidt Fund. This is all for the content of the computer. And then we're short $18,000, and I've contacted Rosa Delores' office, and they're assisting us in finding funding for that. So that brings the total cost up to about $120,000, 60 each, 60 for the construction, 60 for the content. And I'll tell you what the features are that the computer will contain, and then Howard will tell you what we hope to do in the future with the computer, how we hope to expand it. There will be an events calendar where visitors can learn more about upcoming events and potentially plan their next visit, because this computer will be available 24/7. It's interactive. You can connect from your home, etc. An interactive area map that will allow visitors to explore Guilford's historic attractions, restaurants, shopping, and more. Visitors will be able to sort by location categories, receive detailed information on each location, view photography, obtain driving directions, and more. An advertising management system that will allow the GPA to sell ad space on select sections of the application. This we need to do to pay for the maintenance and the updating. 4, additional content pages to highlight the Guilford Preservation Alliance, Guilford history, photography, news, and more. 5, an easy-to-use content management system that will provide the GPA with a tool to update the kiosk application. The password-protected web-based CMS will allow the organization to easily add, edit, or delete events, attractions, and other content throughout the application. So that's all being done by Media Boom. And then the historic content, et cetera, is being done by 2 consultants, one from the National Trust and another historian who had come last year and developed the Telling Guilford Story book. So, Howard, do you have any questions of me?
No, sounds great, Shirley. Nice to hear that we've moved that far along personally.
I know, I never thought we'd get there, but they are.
Yes,
When's the anticipated starting date or implementation date?
Well, the kiosk itself is a modular unit and it can be built off-site.
Yeah.
So as soon as we approve one of the bids, the best bid, then they can operate according to their own schedule and construct it off-site. And then the weather will determine when we can put it here. So we're hoping spring. In the meantime, we have to contact volunteers to staff it and then train them.
Will this kiosk replace the use of sandwich boards on the green? Or is this going to be supplementing what they have already there?
It'll be supplementing. Yeah, we're trying to have no paper stuff there at all. So only giving it out when people are staffing it.
Okay.
We don't want litter, clutter. No, it will not the information that those billboards contain, those sandwich boards contain, will be in the kiosk, in the computer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be a physical presence, if that's what you mean.
Are there going to be, who will be allowed to not advertise, but have their organizations listed on the information? Say like, will Board of Education have their sports schedules on there? Will they have their dramatic arts programs on there?
That's what we're hoping to have in the future, so Howard will address that. Right now, we've been cooperating and eliciting input from 26 nonprofit and governmental groups. So all of those, the Arts Center, the Arts Alliance, the Land Trust, all of those groups will have links.
Okay.
Okay?
So I think Shirley has explained that the kiosk has 2 elements to it, the building itself and the electronic interactive screen that will be there, which will be active even when no one is staffing the building. And the board has been very enthusiastic about this project from the beginning because it's an exciting part of a long-term initiative we undertook to encourage historic and ecological tourism in Guilford as a form of low-impact economic development. And but the board's enthusiasm for this project grew even more when we began to realize that the potential of it was much bigger than the interactive screen that'll be on the Parks and Rec property. That in fact the software design that will be behind that interactive screen will also run a website that we will set up, a dedicated website that will be connected to the GPA website, but will appear to be autonomous as well. And that website will basically have all of the functions of the kiosk, so you can look things, potential visitors can look things up before they come. People who live in town can find out about the town in ways that they never have been before. And as the subcommittee of GPA that has been working on it began to do the research, we realized that this was a much bigger and more exciting project than we ever thought. And we're taking steps to make sure that the initial designs, even though our funding is limited, will accommodate at low cost an expansion. And what I want to share, and what Shirley wanted me to share, was that we believe that this could easily and relatively soon become the best documented community in the state, where the amount of information about historic structures, about environmental assets, about and other things in town, the amount of documentation that exists is enormous, but it's in many different places. It's mostly not digitized. A lot of it was typed, 20 years ago on a typewriter. But we're essentially constructing a database in which there will be fields to organize all of this information. And I've spoken to Kevin McGee about the possibility of connecting this database to the town's database, a number of town databases. Most importantly is Kevin has a geographic locator for every structure in town. And so, as you know, we're very proud of our of the effectiveness of our walking tours and our bus tours that GPA has been running in attracting people to town. But eventually, this will enable, by including those locators in this database, it's not a very far stretch to see that it will be possible to walk down any street in Guilford with your phone and have the phone tell you about the buildings that you're standing in front of. And we have an interim plan on some of the plaques we're installing on buildings that are using QR codes on those plaques, but that's a very temporary way of beginning to address this problem. So in a sense, our goal is to make Guilford a huge historic museum where you'll be able to look up, if you're interested in a certain architectural style or a certain period of history, or you're looking up your genealogy and want to see where your families lived, you'll be able to use this database to find all kinds of useful information for research as well as for recreation.
That's the dream.
It's not.
Sometimes become reality.
Right. This one, because of the way that Shirley has organized and sought the funding, the groundwork will really be fundamentally laid for this when the thing opens, even though all that functionality won't be in there.
Sounds great.
If, let's say I live in Wyoming, and I want to go to Guilford, and how would I access that? I mean, I wouldn't go to the guilfordconnecticut.com or .org, and I probably wouldn't know about the GPA.
Right. So it's a good question, and it addresses John's question earlier. One is we're going to have links, two-way links with loads of organizations in town, including the town's website. But also, this will have its own URL, its own internet address.
Okay.
And so when someone searches, we're trying to lock in some URLs right now that are really appropriate and self-explanatory. But you do a simple Google search and you will be able to find this.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for saying yes a year
Looking forward to
ago.
seeing this. Hopefully we'll get it done in the spring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you.
Volunteers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions on any of the staff and director reports? And I didn't see any correspondence in the packet, so I assume there was none. Minutes from last meeting, any changes, corrections?
I move that we accept the minutes as read. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills in the amount of, I only have, oh, that's not a bill. Oh, I did have a question on the, Rick, I'm sorry, let's go back real quick on the senior program report. Passenger miles, wow. 3,000 on the bottom line, bus program. We had 100 or some odd less trips and 3,000 more miles. Or is that just somebody typed something wrong? Just, you don't need to answer it now.
Yeah, I'll have to, I don't know, Ralph, I'll have to ask Secretary on that.
Okay, that's it, sorry.
It could be that when she's trying to do the unit of service of the miles, she's
I think
not
you're right.
understanding it, or it's,
Yeah.
or maybe that is what it is.
Yeah, I'll check it.
Something's wrong. I
It
bet
just-
if you, I don't have
just
any of my old
surprised me.
books anymore, but I bet if you Googled unit of service, you could get that. Instructions.
Okay.
Either that or call Delta.
Yeah, no seat available, trust me.
There you go.
Not with points at least. Okay, approval of bills?
I move that we approve the grand total of $113,232.58.
Second?
Second?
Any questions? All in favor? Old business, Standing Fields Committee.
There's no meeting this past month, so nothing new to report.
Yeah, nothing new to report on the baseball field either. Anybody, any bets on April of 2015 for the baseball field? Anybody want to put some money on this one with me? Oh, okay. Jacobs Beach Project, B.
I don't really have anything, unless you do, but it's,
No, I think just the boulder and plaque we're still
yep,
waiting.
we'll deal with that. We figured we'll just put it on hold until beginning of spring. when
Were we going
weather
back
clears.
to ask to revisit the costs of the shade, or have we done that?
Yeah, I talked to Will Thompson about
Okay.
it. And
We did that.
since then, I've gotten 3 different companies that sell different types of shade structures. And they've forwarded to me and to Will, like how they're anchored, because one part of the cost was those
anchoring.
poles got to go down
Footings.
30 feet,
Yeah.
30 feet. And there's one company that responded that has beach applications not Musqueam, but in Rhode Island.
Yeah, and they have a shade structure.
Yeah, and they just have big footings. They're just, concrete footings. They don't go down 30 feet.
They keep the canvas up year-round?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Will...
It's not even canvas, it's something else.
Yeah, it's different kind, yeah. I'm not sure.
Teflon, it's probably
Fireproof.
Nasser.
So Will was going to look at it, and I told him that, at some point he needs to let us know what a cost might be for him to do more work on this, because we can't ask him to do this for nothing.
Right,
But, and I haven't heard back from him yet. That was before Christmas. We got a couple of those things. But I did tell him that
Okay.
the next, our budget presentation is coming, mid-January, so we can address it still, even though a capital budget's been submitted. If we want to make a change, we can bring it up at that time. So if we find out we can do this for, much more
Well, if
cost.
nothing else, we should let them know at that meeting
Yeah.
that we've taken their advice
Yeah.
and we're revisiting the entire scenario, if nothing else.
Yeah, it'd be important to update that it's still
Yeah.
being discussed and worked on.
Well, this way they know we tried to do something about it. 6C, the dog park.
I met today with wetland specialist. I walked it with Kevin McGee and Joanne Basil from the Dog Park Committee. And the wetland specialist is going to go back, and we just showed him kind of the area where this might go. And he was going to go back after our meeting and flag the wetlands, which is required by the Town Hall South group. And then, once we get that information and we get wetlands approval, meanwhile, we can get we need an A2 and a T2 survey of a topographic survey and boundary survey. The committee talked with one person who does those surveys, and to do the entire park, the whole area, it's like $10,000. We don't need to do the whole area. We don't need to know boundaries that are a quarter mile away from where the dog park is. So our suggestion will be that we just survey the area that's immediately surrounding where the dog park might go, and that'll be a much lower cost. This wetland study it's relatively inexpensive. I think it was like $330 or something for the guy to do the work today. So if we can get approval from the folks at Town Hall South to go with a smaller scale survey, then we can maybe make this more reasonable and try to get something going.
Okay. 60 dogs on beaches in your packet. I believe everyone got a copy.
No,
of it.
here's the new one.
Oh, a
That
new
way.
one.
Yeah,
Updated.
updated. If you recall, pass this around with you, Ralph. It's the one on letterhead that you should be looking at.
Oh, okay. Significant changes?
We
Bob?
approved this at the November meeting, writing a letter asking the selectmen to make this change. At the December meeting, there was discussion, and everybody was asked to send me any changes, except for the change that Jack suggested. I didn't hear from anybody, but I did make a few changes, and I'll just walk you through them. Under number 2, you're looking at the one on the letterhead, right?
Yes.
Okay, so under number 2, Jack pointed out that Circle Beach was actually in Madison, and what our shorefront property was Grass Island, which is at the end of Neck Road, but still, it's not Circle Beach. Under number 3, added 3 things: unpopular with residents, impossible to police, and unfair to dog owners, or what, I can't remember exactly what I said, but dog owners who frequent shorefront areas. Then under number 5, Rick pointed out that we still had Circle Beach, and that actually we didn't hear from residents anywhere near Grass Island. What we heard from was people at Daniel Avenue, so that's been crossed out. And then at the bottom, we just added contact information. In other words, if they had any questions. That's it for changes. So I'm assuming that since I didn't hear from anybody else, that we can just go ahead and forward this to the Board of Selectmen.
Do we need a motion to get that done, or?
No, we
just-
already had the motion.
Okay, that's fine. I have no,
Unless you want to have a motion to approve this version.
yeah, why don't we do that, just to be on the safe side. Have a motion to approve the updated version dated January 5th, 2015, to the Board of Selectmen from Park and Rec relative to dogs on beaches.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed?
Any opposed?
No.
Unanimous, just one no.
Could I, just as a point of information, is it generally done to send them something in writing, or does one ask to be on the agenda? Up front, so in case there are any questions.
I think both. I think we send this to them, but then they'll be on the agenda, and you probably want us to come in.
Okay, so you'll keep track of that then, Rick? Okay.
All righty, 6F budget, we just went through that. Almost everyone in the room was there, and I gave a brief explanation when Sue did show up as to what we had discussed. Any further discussion?
Well, the date, you asked me downstairs, it is January 16th, it's at 9 o'clock, our presentation.
January 16th, that's...
And who goes to that?
Anybody on the commission is welcome. Rick will present, and anybody else who wants. I usually go, and I just sit there on my hands.
Do you need anybody else to go?
If you care to attend,
What time is it
feel
again?
free. It's 9 a.m. at Town Hall.
Ralph, you wear your zoot suit? Did you wear the zoot suit?
No, I didn't wear my zoot suit last year. I think I'll wear my...
He's wearing his Christmas decorations. Bling,
I'll wear my-
bling,
That's a
bling,
good
bling.
idea. I have a Christmas sweater that lights up, one of those ugly sweaters.
Okay.
Okay, 7A, new business. I mean, we alluded to this a little bit in our previous budget meeting, but one of the things we usually do at this time of the year in preparation from a revenue perspective, and we did have a question about revenue, I think it was your job at the operating, in the previous meeting. The charges that we charge for the various services and programs that we offer. So I don't know if we want to have a lengthy discussion, since we all, I don't know, me personally, I'd have to review these again, because I couldn't tell you what they were off the top of my head and be prepared, or do we want to discuss potential places you may want to make suggestions, Rick, where you think some changes could be made.
So this sheet I passed out, this is what I have to submit with the budget, which I tried to, I mean, it was due last week, but I felt sure the commission has to approve the budget before I submit it, so this is one of these not in that packet that I gave you, because I haven't done this part yet. I did, but it's a question of whether or not we want to raise fees for any of these items here. I think in the packet, I believe there was the registration form, or reservation forms for room rentals and picnic pavilion, and I think I added the beach information one today, handed out, because I forgot to put that in the packet for beach passes. So
When did we raise these all? Let's do an item at a time. What do you think?
Last year we did.
yeah, some of them we did last year.
Okay, well, we'll do, my personal preference then would be if we did them last year. I want to do it again the second time, 2 years in a row.
Room
That's
fees,
me.
I think, have been the same for a little while. I think the kayak racks have been the same for a little while. Kayak, I think we're going to get more revenue for the kayak racks really anyway, because we had
There's more
20.
racks.
You have more racks.
Well, we got to build more racks. They're all filled to capacity. We had 20 on a waiting list. And I'm trying to seek an Eagle Scout to see if, because they built 5 of the racks down there, see if there's somebody coming up to do an Eagle project to build another 1 or 2. And I think we talked, when we did our walk, we talked about putting them perpendicular to where they are now, but against the far property there.
Are we the same as other towns for our fees for the kayaks?
Kayaks or boat, what are we talking about here now?
Madison, but
I feel like we're low.
I think
I think it's 90.
Madison's 90.
I think so.
That
But at the
seems
very
low.
least, if we get 20 more at $75, what's that?
2,200.
1,500,
1,500.
50, well, you know, that,
and I'm not an accountant.
just by more racks, we're going to get more revenue anyway.
My son
And the
has
cost of
kayak
building the
there.
racks is very modest.
Pretty, yeah. It's about, yes, because it'll either be built by our guys, which there's no labor cost, or Boy Scouts, we just pay for the lumber. Maybe it's, $800, $500 or something, not a lot.
I don't know. Seems low to me, but that's just me.
But the money that we do collect, is it upkeep for the kayaks, and where does the money
It goes into the general fund.
General.
to the general?
Yeah.
It's that money we get.
This sheet here, everything on this sheet goes to the general fund, it's not reimbursables. And so last year, our actual collected, you can see, was almost $109,000. Our budget's $110 this year. And I got to, project,
The increase.
or make an estimate for next year. I think we're going to sell more beach passes just because of the improvements down there. Now that people have seen the improvements, we've started seeing them come up a bit. I think the number of people on the beach on a Sunday or Saturday, it's. I mean, I can't scientifically
It's
tell you, but I can tell you though. Previous years, I go out on a Sunday afternoon, it might be 40, 50 people on the beach. Last year,
that.
100. Yeah, so it's at least doubled, if not more. Pavilion rentals will be up. They were down a little less last year than what we probably budgeted for, because remember there was it was last year before. One year we didn't open until late June because we were doing the improvements down there, so we couldn't open.
Construction.
Yeah, they're under construction, so so the numbers were down. We lost all of the spring, so that'll come up this year a bit. So it's just, it's up to the commission if you want to raise the fees at all. The room rentals, I think we did here at the community center. That one, we did have the non-resident rate last year.
Yep.
Before, non-residents couldn't rent, now they can, and we do get some. I think we kept the other fees the same, the $30. It was $25, we went up, I think, 2 or 3 years ago to the $30. The Jacobs Beach pavilion rentals have been the same for a while. I would say at least 3 or 4 years, maybe 5.
Which one was that?
The Jacobs Beach, the facility use form,
The shelter.
That's cheap.
Is it 30, is it?
and that's for 4 hours when they rent it. So it was $25. Like I said, I think maybe 4 years ago we went up. I know we didn't do it last year or the year before because we didn't want to raise fees when we were doing, we
Right,
don't
and
want
we-
to.
Construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how long ago did we reach beach fees? Because we made a significant improvement in the beach.
That was last year.
That was,
We
yeah,
did do
that
that
we
last
did.
year? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think
I'm
we
just-
should raise the beach fees.
No, I don't either.
Oh, so what are we proposing? No changes then?
I'm leaving it totally up to you guys what you want to do. If we can leave it the same, if you want to raise it a little bit somewhere, anywhere, then
Is it something we
Well, can
need
we
to
take
do,
them
want to do, or have to do, in your opinion?
we're always asked to find if there's ways to find more revenue. It's not been a directive, but we've been asked, the department has been asked to look in your budget, there's places where you think you can raise some revenue.
But you've been asked by the town to raise revenue that they receive to their general fund.
Correct.
Right.
Right? You know what?
I move that we leave the fees for beach passes as they are for at least another year,
Yeah, I agree.
For the next fiscal year.
for the next fiscal year, yes.
I think we need to see how like a whole season goes at the beach.
Uninterrupted.
Once everything is completed, the whole beach.
The only thing I might consider changing perhaps is the room rentals,
But we were on beach passes.
oh, we're doing one at a time?
Well, don't we have to? I mean, those are completely different things, room rentals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to like vote on each one separately?
Well, maybe the beachy stuff,
Yeah.
the boat racks and the beach passes and the
Okay.
pavilions could all be in one. Those are all
Some
waterfront
kind of survey
facilities.
of the towns in the area.
And then we can get some kind of data on a full year use.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll change my motion to, I move that we leave the beach passes, the boat rack rental, and the Jacobs Pavilion rental as they are currently until we can assess what one full program year
I'll
brings.
second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, so the only other thing we have to do is look at the room rental.
I have a question, Rick, because I've gone by numbers of Sundays, and a church meets here. They use lots of rooms.
They use, yeah, three, I think. They use maybe two up here, four. They use two here, preschool room, and we charge them for each room.
You do?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because the parking lot is always filled on
Yeah.
Sunday morning. I mean, there's a lot of people who
They're our
come.
biggest revenue,
They are?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because they're the only group that's here every week that
Yeah.
pays.
Okay. And they pay for 4 rooms?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And they pay as a nonprofit, of course?
Yeah.
As a resident nonprofit? Okay.
Any motions, changes, thoughts, just leave it at the same? It's something we want to take I don't know.
What is the fee right now? I'm missing it.
$35 per room.
It's the one that says, application for Nathaniel B. Green Community Center, that
No,
one?
it's on weekends and Fridays, and Friday night and the weekends is $30 an hour for a nonprofit. Right? Am I looking at the right thing? And it's
Yeah.
plus a $15 an hour custodian fee.
Yeah, that's kind of, we add that in, if it's like the Friday and weekend hours, it's the 30 plus the 15, that's where the 45 is.
Oh, okay. So that's how much they pay, $45
Yeah.
times
There are
4?
some groups that kind of fall in the cracks, and some of them, we charge them the custodian fee. There may be a quasi-nonprofits that don't really fit into any category here, so we charge them because we have to have a custodian, and we charge them that fee, so we cover the cost of the custodian, and then some.
What do I do with that? Yeah.
Do they use the groups that come in, do they use the kitchen and?
Not usually, but if they do, they have to give us that deposit, the $50
I
deposit.
just wondered how many groups really come in and use the kitchen.
There were some, there's some banquets. There was a birthday party here
Yeah, and
Saturday. They
yeah,
wanted to
the
heat
other
up some water, so use the kitchen for that, to boil some water. That's all they use it for, but, they might use our refrigerator, not in the kitchen, but the one that's out in the little service area there. In fact, that same group, they had some potato salad or something, so I happened to be here that Saturday, and they asked, can we use that refrigerator to put our potato salad? I said, yeah, go ahead, there's room, put it in there.
If we raised, raised everything $5, would we be within the spirit of responding to the request to see where extra money could be made without burdening groups? It wouldn't change the no fees.
Seems reasonable. That seems very reasonable.
Yeah.
So you'd go 35 to 50.
Yes.
So So you'd go from 30.
I mean, I don't remember that we've changed these fees for a long time, and yet we have to pay more for custodians, we have to pay
Yeah.
more. And that would also boost the custodial fee up.
Do you think 5 is enough?
Well, it's a pretty big proportion of 15,
Yeah.
True, very true.
Yeah.
just to keep it sort of like manageable, in other words, like
Yeah, agreed.
an even number.
Agreed.
Well, we charge, what, 1.5 for non-residents?
I mean, if you had a birthday party here and you got $15 an hour and it was a 2-hour, that's a pretty reasonable birthday fee
Yeah.
now. And even
Yeah.
if it's up at 2 hours, that would be $40.
Agreed.
Most parents would gladly crawl on their hands and knees to be able to use the facility for that,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, they really
absolutely.
would.
Yeah.
I looked at these fees, they're very low. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but you also have birthday party fees.
We do. There's a separate
Because
fee for
they-
birthday, because we hire staff and,
Oh, so
But
they
if
don't
they're
have
just
to rent the
using the
room?
room, but if they're just using the
But-
room, right, and not using the staff,
right.
it's different.
Sometimes, like the group that was here on Saturday, it was for a 1-year-old, so they didn't need staff. They just had, probably more parents and adults that had kids. And so it was the rental fee, not the birthday party fee. But yes, if it's a birthday party, they pay for it. We have 2 staff, and that fee is more, I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. It's $80 or $100. They pay more. So the room rental's kind of in that, and then the staff cost is in that. And when we get the payment comes in, Bonnie's supposed to take out the staff cost, that goes into the reimbursables, it pays for the staff, and then the rental fee goes to the town budget.
It's still all very reasonable.
Yeah.
So do we need to make a motion to raise the $30 an hour to 35 and the 45 an hour to 50?
Why don't we just say across the board?
Everything
Across the
$5,
board,
yeah, I already wrote them all
$5,
down, so,
Don't have to do it individually?
No.
yeah. If you want to do that, I can make the change, and we can do that in the computer.
So we need a motion.
Yep.
When would we make these
Move to
effective?
increase the room rental fees across the board $5.
Effective when? Effective when?
Except the no fee
July
ones.
1st,
which
I would
will
think.
July
stay
1st,
Because that's the new
Yeah.
budget year, right?
So-
Effective July 1st?
Yes.
Effective
Yeah.
July 1st, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Rick, is
Last-
the birthday party one separate? Like the package with the staff, is that a separate?
A different form, yeah.
Rick, you'll be sure to make it known at town hall that we adhere to their request.
Facility form, beach form, which form? The building
But that's what I
form.
was just wondering, because you don't want anyone to miss the fact that you have that as well. You know, like if I'm looking to rent a room for a party, I may not know. I've been here a million times to rent a party and have parties here, but a new parent may not know that you have that. So I didn't know if you want to add verbiage on here, you don't have to put all the information, just.
Well, we have a whole separate form, and if somebody calls and says, we want it, can we reserve for a birthday party? There's a different form we point them to, either online, they can get it, or we fax it to them, email. Or
These are online then?
Yeah, they are, yeah. Yeah, and the birthday party one should be on it, because all of our forms are online. So it's separate form, because then they ask for the hours, and if they want staff, and how many tables set up, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, last item on the agenda, the election of officers. Let me fill you in on the status of where we're at and why this became a little more visible this month. There is an applicant that has submitted an application to the Selectman's office and has been forwarded to the Republican Town Committee for approval for the Park and Rec Commission. I sent a copy of the applicant's form to Rick. I got it from the town council. He's on the agenda to be interviewed this month. And pending that, if he gets approved by the Republican Town Committee, he'll probably get appointed sometime in February. And I'm the next working Republican on the list to go, so I would be done. Well, I'm not going to be here for the month of February anyway. I'll be away, so. In case you were around.
quietly
But-
like that. You can't leave quietly like that.
I'm not leaving quietly. I can't leave until he shows up. And I won't do that.
And will he
I'll sit-
become the,
No, we have
he
to
just
vote.
has to be
No.
added and then everybody chooses who?
No, tonight, you need to, by law, you're supposed to elect a new chair and co-chair every 2 years, if I read it correctly. So,
Vice Chair.
vice chair, chair and vice chair. We have an individual, Rose Dostert, who is not here tonight, who in an email to both Rick and I has volunteered to, not volunteered to say, said she would accept the position as vice chair. She doesn't want to hear anything about chairman. The other custom that you should keep in mind, it's not rule, it's not regulation. Rose brought it up at the last meeting, that customarily, the chairman that gets elected is from the party who's in control of the selectman's seat in town. So that would be a Republican. That's not a rule, that's not a regulation, it's been a courtesy. Quite frankly, like Rick and I have discussed, and I think most of us who have been on this commission for a while, this is probably one of the most apolitical organizations with respect to being a Republican, a Democrat. We're dealing with social issues and town issues, not rules, governing people's lives and stuff like that. So I don't know, that party is important. With that, I will place Rose's name into, and the only reason Barbara's currently the vice chair, but your term is also coming up
April.
in April.
I think my term's up in February.
No, you haven't
4
been on
years.
for 4 years?
Yeah, but like I came in midway through or something. On the website, it says February.
Oh, it can't be.
Yeah, in 2015. So I
What
thought it was
party?
July of, I'm Republican.
Who did you replace? I'm trying to remember.
Don't remember.
So did somebody have an
Well, then I'm
unfinished
done
term?
because she came in after me.
No.
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 Believe that you
It
figured
depends, sometimes when a person leaves in the middle of a term, which has happened, the person who's appointed to fill that position does not automatically get a 4-year term. Sue's been here for a while, but she obviously, Suzanne, I'm sorry, she obviously replaced somebody, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Who was that gentleman? Remember, he came to one meeting
Oh,
about a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Isabellas?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah,
got
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
So that's probably who Suzanne represented. Usually your term, when you get a full term, is 4 years.
Okay.
So you might be
They
right.
have me on here as expiring 2/28/2015.
That must have been the Yocabellis thing.
Yeah.
Served out that.
So she can
So
get
you can-
reappointed though.
Huh?
Suzanne can get reappointed.
You can
You can get reappointed.
To 02/28/2016, yours is.
So you can get reappointed.
Okay.
I can. I've had 8 consecutive years. This is not a choice on my part.
Suzanne,
This is,
look up.
I have to be gone for at least a year. So regardless.
So we'll see you next February, Carl?
You have to,
February too.
February.
Yeah, you're
I told you what.
No, I started in April.
request
Was
to
it-
the Republican Town Committee.
So what do we
Kathy,
need to
is
do
there
tonight?
any way we can check those dates about?
Yeah, they're on the
Selectmen's
website.
officer, there's somewhere they
You're
have.
on the website,
they have
aren't
it
you?
all
Yeah, I'm on the
listed
I'm on the website. That's what it
That's
says on the
supposed to,
website.
what does it say for my date? Just look at mine and see what it says. If it says February 2014,
February 2014.
Tim can't do it without looking it up.
Actually, there's a bunch of us in 2000. You're 2015.
Oh, that's not right.
Yeah, this isn't right. And you're
No, it is right,
2015.
but you have to request reappointment to this commission through the Republican Town Committee.
Yeah, because I took someone's.
The term expires.
You're
Right.
serving out the term of the person that you,
Okay.
doesn't mean you have to leave because
The
you
next
be
time-
reappointed.
Right.
Submit your name again.
you just have to submit it again, basically, if you're
You
already
don't
on
go
the
through the
commission. You should
interview
do that.
process, you just
So we
submit
should do
your
that.
name.
Okay, so.
Unless you're like Barbara and I, who both have had 8 consecutive years. Neither one of us have a choice.
Okay, so Barbara, I, Claire, Jack, or John, sorry.
Which is it now,
Wrong
Jack or
one, wrong one. Hold on.
Good thing we have a Jill. You may come to the meeting by yourself next month.
John, Claire, and I need to
We're the longest
reappoint
standing.
ourselves.
No, we don't reappoint ourselves.
You got to go to
Ask
the,
them for
We have to
reappointment.
request reappointment
Okay,
from
okay.
the appropriate
To your
town
friend.
committee.
and for you, for the Democrats, it's Rose Duster,
Right.
okay? And she's on the commission.
And you don't have, do you have to, because you're on,
affiliated, right? Or-
No, I'm Republican.
And for the Republicans, you should contact Joe Dunsmore.
I think you just shocked the Democratic Town Committee with that statement.
Joe Dunsmore.
She's a mole.
Like Ralph said, nobody knows in this commission.
What do we need to do?
All right.
You're done.
Let's put the one issue to bed.
We're doing-
I'm placing the name of Rose Dostert in nomination for
Vice Chair.
Vice Chair of the Park and Rec Commission.
I'll second that.
Any seconds? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
have it.
Okay. Now, do we have anyone on the existing commission now who would like to serve as chairman?
So that leaves right here, these three.
Oh, it's anybody here. I mean, you could be chairman. The fact that you've only been here for 2 months doesn't make a difference. You want the job, you can. Sure. I don't think nobody, it doesn't look like anybody's raising their arms.
I got too much on my plate. No, thank you.
I have,
Jack?
Okay, I move we nominate Jack Penders as chair.
all in favor?
Do we have to have a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just accept that.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations.
Now, I will not be here next month, so
You
you,
going?
I will chair.
Are you going to
and
Florida?
then I'll be back in February and March.
When does Jack start?
I would let,
Why
I
can't
would
he start in
introduce.
February?
He could if he wanted to.
I think you and I should talk
Oh,
for transition purposes.
okay.
Ralph's got boxes and boxes, he's gonna dump them in your front steps.
Well, I'm going to be away in February,
If you
so
don't
we
get
need
his,
to
you'll
talk
get mine.
Yeah.
Better start reviewing the.
So do you want to start in February, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, and you and I owe me for coffee or brunch or lunch or whatever you want to do beforehand.
You might go in from breakfast to lunch to dinner.
If you don't shut me up, it could be a 24-hour.
breakfast here.
period.
Yeah, that's how you.
Barb will be there.
Well, I'll bring a gavel.
Okay, I move that we adjourn the meeting. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:25 PM.